Hello, everyone. Today is a unique day. We get the opportunity to speak to Brian. He's the owner and the operator of Privada Cigar Club, and we will get the chance to pick his brain and see what's going on. He reached out to me because he saw my video regarding being a Canadian member. I think he just wants to chat. I'm intrigued and I'm interested to see what he has to say. So in the next few minutes, we're going to hop in this call and see where this chat goes. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Hey, Brian should be here in just a second. Very good. Very good.
Excellent.
How dare you
Who's that?
make a bad video about Privada Cigar? Should I put my regular hat on? I look like I'm gonna fucking burglarize an art gallery. There it is.
What do you want to talk about? What do you want to chat about? So I'm open to having a conversation.
I'm just here to attack you for. No, I'm just kidding. So there's a bunch of different things that I really wanted to kind of say to you, but really say to all of the Canadian cigar smokers that, took a shot and, joined Privada Cigar Club. So I think the first thing that I'd want to say is obviously we didn't, the result we got was not the intended result. Obviously, that. We know that. Privada Cigar Club did not get to where we are today by having slow shipping, constantly disappointing our customers. And I think the proof in that is part of one of the negatives, which was you felt like you got attacked. And we use the term culty and stuff like that. And I've heard this before. And so there's a few things that I want to say to that. But in context to this statement that I'm making now, I think it shows that kind of customer loyalty. I think it shows that we have dedicated all of our time and energy to serving our customers. And so our members are really our friends. So when they see people not having that experience, they either A, can't believe it, or B, want to defend it, or so I think that's kind of the proof in that. And then we can talk about that as well. I guess what I'm trying to say here is we live and die by customer service. I don't know of any other company that has better customer service than Privada Cigar Club. And you're probably sitting here going, bullshit, man. I just made a whole fucking video about how bad your customer service was. And so I want to get into the nitty gritty of that part because we were helpless. Okay. And that's why you did not get the service from us. That it's kind of like we kind of felt like we were getting beat up. Our hands were tied behind our back. And it was like, at this point, we're just getting the shit kicked out of us. What's the fucking difference? I can't change it. I can't stop getting hit in the face. I can't block because I don't have, I can't do anything. So by the time you came around in particular, we were just like, what the fuck, man? We got no control over this situation. And I also want to say something. I am not putting off blame on Cigar Chief. I am so grateful for the opportunity that they've given us. And I think what it's turned into is what I wish it could have been from the beginning. But you live and you learn with these things. And in business, we throw a lot of shit at the wall at Privada Cigar Club. LCA, the club itself, the online shop, the farm roll. These were all just ideas we threw at the fucking wall. Some worked, some didn't. There are many, many misses, and there are some really big wins. And so that's always been my style of doing business. I wake up, I'm a creative guy. I get an idea. Hey, we could do this. It'll serve this purpose, solve this problem, serve this person, and it could be awesome. And sometimes it worked and sometimes it didn't. In this particular case, we had to know in the age of Amazon, I don't give a shit how good your product is, how nice you are, how quickly you respond to your emails. People aren't getting a product for over 2 months. No one's going to be happy with that. That was never set up to be a success in the first place. Yeah. And so that's a problem. And then, by the way, cigars are so subjective, right? So the least offense that I took in the video was the one silver lining I was hoping for was in the end, you were going to be like, the cigars are pretty good. You did not feel that way. Why would cigars are so subjective and they're so psychological that I could give you the same cigar and have you smoke it under 3 different circumstances and you're going to have 3 totally different outcomes, right? Or experiences. So of course, if you've been attacked by the members of a club, you've gotten shit service, you waited 2 months to get the cigars. how good are those cigars possibly going to be when you're smoking? You're like, what the fuck was this? What did I do all this? And, so there's a lot of ends and ends and ends of why I think you had a bad experience with us.
Yeah.
Not to make any excuses. And again, this isn't Cigar Chief's fault. We joined into this marriage together and we did our best to make it work. We've altered it now to where they're shipping it. You're not waiting 2 months, you're waiting a month, 3 weeks, stuff like that. Still not having the best experience with that. The subscription business, Matt, is so dynamic. It is so speed heavy.
Yeah.
The emphasis is on speed. The emphasis then becomes on experience, which you did mention with the cards that we do provide this experience that no one else does, which is a big reason why we're probably the biggest thing that happened in the American cigar market since Drew Estate. And the very few companies have had the success that we've had, and we're so grateful for it. And we got here because we're serving a certain demographic in the cigar culture that wasn't being served. These were probably more millennial style customer that were looking for a much deeper experience and a much deeper connection with the products that they're consuming. And so we nailed that part. And here we have complete control. You would have written me, hey man, you're in California and you didn't get your shipped out last Tuesday. It's Friday. You don't have it. I can reship that again. That's not a problem. And then you're like, oh, that was so cool. And then when both boxes end up showing up, because that happens all the time, and you write me and you're like, hey man, I got 2 boxes now. What do I do? And I'm like, we worked that out like in a nice way. And you're like, wow, what a great experience I had with this company. Guess what? The cigars taste better. It's just the way it is. So we had that. And then also the initial reason why I wanted to hop on here with you is because we kind of became a big deal as far as, the virality of it and the talk and the sales and the numbers and the exposure and the anti-industry thing and so here you are in coming into like my year 6 in the industry where every single member I have got to know me on some level because I answer 99% of the emails. Another thing I want to talk about. So when I hear you talking about like, I'm this mystery man, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Am I losing touch with people? Like, am I losing touch with my consumers? I don't want that.
Yeah.
We've been successful enough to where we can make changes that don't profit us. And that's more important. If we're doing that, it's because it's more important than just making money. And so was the original thing. It was like, what? I'm like some mystery guy. Like, I'm so accessible. Let me hop on here with this dude and let's talk about it. And then we just mentioned one other thing. And I'm sorry, I'm just like spewing all this shit out, but I'm giving you all the reasons that I've had in my mind of why I wanted to do this. You didn't get to deal with me on email. At that point, we were so busy that I was getting help with my email. And I've gotten help with my email in the past, but most of my working day is spent replying to emails. I am in that inbox. And after the Canada thing, and after I saw your video, the person that was helping me, my guy Tristan over here, I was like, dude, I got to do the emails myself. I'm losing touch with my consumer. I'm losing touch with my people, and I can't. It just can't happen. So I got to figure it out. I'm back to doing all the emails myself, and I feel so much more connected and engaged. And so when I saw your video, I wanted to address all those things and say that Cigar Chief now has all of our products in stock. Maybe the subscription business doesn't work because of the shipping thing there, but you can go there and buy a lot of cigars that you didn't have access to at really good prices. You didn't have access to these things 6 months ago, a year ago. So they've picked up pretty much everything we've got. And I think they're doing a great job. And the one thing I'll say about Cigar Chief is the 2 cats that are running it, they're really like optimistic and like engaged or curious about cigars. And I love that. That's the thing. Like they're in love with this thing. And so I appreciate that. And those are the kind of people that I look to do business with. And so I think we just didn't get it right in the beginning. And now we're starting to, but it's certainly not easy. And the subscription business it's not so easy. Lastly, I want to say this. my whole career, I've been trolled by my competition. I think they think they're my competition, but they're not. And if you look at some of those comments, you can clearly see it's in every Reddit post that's been negative about me, in any video that's been negative about me, there's been these comments, and they always lead back to another club or another retailer that has a subscription business. And it's like, it's so lame. And I saw that I haven't seen it in quite a while. And I saw it in your video and I was like, dude, that's not you. What are you going to get? 5 of my customers from doing that? 5 of your viewers from doing that? Like, the numbers got to be bigger than that. And you're not going to get to, I've always kind of wanted to say that out loud when I see this. Oh, I used to be a member of Privada Cigar Club, but now I switched over to this new and improved club and they're so much better. It's like, come on, man. You're going to get a person out of that? Like, why waste time? So I've said everything I need to say. Let's talk cigars. I want to hear some things from you about, like, you mind if I ask you a couple questions?
Go ahead, man. I got a lot for you, but you can ask a couple.
Oh, no, okay. So let's do that. Let's do that.
Yeah. So I guess firstly, I just want to pick apart like what's going on in Canada for, Privada cigars. Like, why is the shipping taking so long? I'll say this. When I try a product, I try to try it multiple times to get a more honest, like an unbiased review instead of just trying it once. And then, I tried it once, it's bad. And then I'm like, oh, this is a terrible product. So that's why I tried your subscription 3 times. And every single time it was just miss. Now, granted, you said when you have some cigars, it's all, you can smoke 3 cigars on 3 different days in 3 different places and you can have 3 different experiences. Totally true. I agree with that. But like, what's going on with the shipping time? What's going on there? Why does it take so long?
I wish I could tell you that. All I can tell you is we ship out on the 5th. They're supposed to have them through customs and ready to ship out from their facility on the 20th or the 22nd. That's the way it was always pitched to me. It would get through customs and get to them by the 22nd. So you should have your stuff within a week or 2 of that, right?
Who's
okay,
they?
so
tell me. They should ship it through customs. Like, who's they?
No, we ship it through customs.
Okay, so
they get it.
Okay.
They get it and receive it by the 20th or the 22nd, which we, from the estimate times that we had like sent them things, we felt like that was.
But you said they again. Is that customs or is that Cigar Chief?
No, they would be Cigar Chief. So if they receive it by the 20th or the 22nd, they should be able to ship it out from there.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the part that's taking long. Like, are you guys delivering on your end? It hits Cigar Chief and then it's sitting there?
I don't want to throw anyone under the bus or put blame on anyone.
Yeah.
But yes, we ship out by the 5th. Are they getting it by the 20th or the 22nd like they're supposed to? That part I could look into, but I don't really know. I do find from when I know they have it to when they get to the customer are not great. And a lot of Canadians tell me it's because it's with Loomis. I don't know who that is.
Yeah, it's like some third-party delivery service. They're not They're not popular. They're not like a big delivery service. Like in Canada, you have like Canada Post. That would be like our main one or whatever.
Got it. So I don't know why they don't use it. Could be tobacco purposes. I don't know. But yeah, even from when I know that it's been sent out from Canada, it seems to take way longer than it should.
All right. So let's say the shipping times were whack. Is that going to be fixed? Is that something that you're fixing? You now have products with Cigar Chief, right?
So we now have products with Cigar Chief. If you order them on their site, I can't imagine they would take more than a week or 2 to get to you. I would love for you to try it and see what happens.
All right, so it's kind of out of your hands. You gave them stock; they have it in their inventory.
Once it's in the country, once it's in the country, it is completely out of my hands.
Gotcha. I have another question for you. How are you able to bring cigars into Canada without getting excise taxed? Like, how can you bring your cigars into Canada and have them affordable for Canadians?
That's all props due to the chief for that. He's got some sort of situation where it's probably a Native American or Native Canadian thing. They have some sort of way around that.
Gotcha.
Which is awesome. And I think everyone should be grateful for that fact because you're not paying $35 a cigar.
Yeah, because that's what happened to me. I ordered that one stick. Like if you saw my video, it was $7.50.
That was such a big fucking...
Dude.
Because of that, you weren't the only one. Because of that, we had to like basically turn off any zip code that's not in our country from ordering on our website.
Another question regarding that. Could you have snuck that into a Privada subscription? Like that one cigar? Was that like was that a thing?
100%.
Okay, so that was like
Absolutely, that
you
should have
guys dropped the
happened.
ball on that.
100%.
Okay. Yeah, because a member told me, he's like, yeah, we just add them into our subscriptions and they just send it. And I was like, why didn't they just do that for me?
100%. That's how that. I'm not exactly sure how that happened.
Okay.
There was a lot going on during that time, and when I went back and looked at your emails and I talked to my guy Tristan, it was a shit show over here. We were getting slammed every which way. Again, a lot of it was out of our control. So it's the 5th. We send out our stuff. It's the 22nd. You're emailing, hey, when do I get my stuff? Well, you should get your stuff within 2 weeks from now. 2 weeks go by. You write me back. We don't have our stuff. I asked my guy Clark, can you talk to the chief? I don't actually deal with the chief directly. I have to put that out there. So, but my guy does. So hey, Clark, can you ask the chief? Oh yeah, they actually had a slight delay, but they sent it out last week. Now it's 3 weeks. Now you're emailing me. Hey man, it's been 7-8 weeks. It's just not a good experience. I don't think that the subscription coming from us was well thought out. And, I definitely should have taken a bigger hand in that. But nonetheless, the idea was to get you guys products that you couldn't get prior at a really good cost.
Yeah.
And that happens, but the experience just wasn't good enough to make it great. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Like the products, the price point, it's unmatched. You can't, you definitely can't get that in Canada.
That's great. I'm proud of that. Now, how do we fine tune that? How do we get it to you faster?
Honestly, if you guys can get deliveries going in 3 to 5 days, like if like I know domestically in the States, how fast can you guys get your products to your customers?
2 to 5 days.
Exactly. So like if you guys could implement that in Canada, you guys would be popping up.
I don't think we can do that with the subscription. What I think we should do is just spitballing here. I think that we should just send them a bunch of subscription boxes every single month. And once they get there, they can put them on sale and boom, you should have it within a week. Like I don't see, unless I know nothing about, which I do, I know nothing about Canadian ship. Like I didn't know who Loomis was. I don't know Canadian Post. But if you're telling me like, if you owned a speaker store and I bought a speaker on your website from Calgary and I'm in Toronto, like I'd get it within a week, then why shouldn't we be able to ship cigars within a week? And yeah, I think that that's the way we should do it going forward. And I think that the new system kind of mimics that a little bit, but it still promises like every single month you're going to get this at a certain time. And so I think I'm going to have a meeting with those guys and figure that out, because that's the experience I want you to have. Is you order it, it shows up within a week, and you're smoking great cigars when you have tasting notes, pairing notes, and all that stuff to create a nice experience with it.
Exactly. Another question. Do you mind if I keep asking you questions? Like, how do you want to go about this?
Absolutely not. Why? This is why we do this.
Perfect, man. Yeah, I got a bunch. Did you guys have an ambassador program in Canada?
No. You're talking about
Cigar Friend.
I already know. This is how involved. This is how involved with my consumers I am, and this is what I want you to see. And that's why there's such a disconnect with the Canadian thing. But as you can see, I still know a lot of people on a first name basis.
Yeah.
I will.
We will keep this individual's name anonymous to protect his identity, but some that are in the cigar groups will know who it is. Lol. We shall refer to him as Cigar Friend.
I will say nothing bad about
Cigar Friend.
He's a nice young man, and I wish him the best of luck. But I had to cut him out of the
most politically correct way. Good for you.
My man. I mean,
I got you.
You get it.
Hey, man, I had my own experiences with him too. I'm just gonna say this. I'm gonna say it shortly. I cut ties with that person because it was very flaky. It was a very flaky relationship. It didn't really make sense. It didn't represent what I thought it did. Like, it was weird. So anyways, he was like, that person was the only ambassador in Canada. And I was like, oh, you guys have ambassadors here. Like, interesting. Like, what is this program? So you're telling me there is no ambassador program?
Again, I love people who love cigars, even if I don't like you that much. And when you're in charge of a community, or when a community is growing around your business, it takes a lot of years of learning how to handle things. So in the beginning, Matt, we had people that first of all, I am the most street smart motherfucker you will ever meet in your life. Okay. I can spot, part of the reason I wanted to do this with you is because I can tell that you're looking to have a good experience. You just didn't have one. And that's okay. And we can talk about that and we can try to make that right. right? So you're not someone that like, I could tell that about you right away. There are people in the beginning of my career as this community is forming, which by the way is pure luck. The whole community building thing, if I sat here and told you I created, I could tell you now after experiencing it, how to try to create that kind of community around your business. But what happened here at Privada is it's unheard of, it's unseen before. And I don't know if it'll ever happen again. It was sort of like a CrossFit thing. It was sort of like a Peloton thing. Like it became a real deal community. And there's still a ton of these people out there, but there's no handbook on how to grow, run, lead a community. And there were cats that came along that I spotted a mile away and was like, I want them out. And I would say to myself, what kind of leader would you be if you cut these people out? They are intriguing to other members. They are creating their own community within the community. And the community is like a flower. Don't rip petals off of it just because you think you should. I wish I would have ripped those petals right out. And going forward, I will. And
Cigar Friend.
just got to the point where it was like, my man, you're disrupting, bro. And that's part of the reason why people attacked you when you got in the Facebook group. They were tired of hearing so many different complaints. Canada. Only complaints are coming from Canada. So by the time here Matt comes along and leaves a subjective comment, they're like, dude, get the fuck out of the group. And you're like, bro, what happened here?
Yeah.
So this is all part of a community. And so what happens is the people that I wish I would send out of the community right away and will always look to do that in the future are people that are using this community for their own personal gain or attention. And there's been a few of them and they've all come back to become monsters. And I don't know if that would have happened with
Cigar Friend.
and I never will because I needed to cut that out right away. He was bringing an unnecessary sense of disgruntledness to the platform. And we just don't need that. We just don't need it.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. So like my first experience with Privada, like before, you Google cigars and then Privada comes up because you guys are, like you said, you guys are a big brand. You guys are coming up. You guys are making waves, right? So I've always heard that of your brand. And then I joined the forums for Canada, right? So in Canada, cigars is a small culture. It's hard to get into. And that person that we're talking about was like the guy for Privada. He loved you guys, bro. And then, man, I don't know what happened recently. I don't know what happened recently, but yeah, like his whole feelings changed on the whole brand. Like,
so what happened was, of course. And that's the funny part. It's like, and by the way, you don't always have to cut someone out. Group psychology is so bizarre. I've had people that I could show you videos where guys send me a text message video where they're crying. Like I had a guy cry to me like, you don't understand, bro. This community saved my life. Like I was suicidal before Privada and I, got involved with you guys and the love and time that I get to spend with these people around cigars. The cigars become secondary. This community is primary for me. And this has been an amazing thing. That same person 1 month later cancels, doesn't say shit to me, goes online and creates a whole big stir about how they hate Brian. Brian's this, Brian's that. And the cigars suck. When I have like literally they leave reviews on my website talking about how great it's just craziness. So I've come to expect anything. Like I said, so many times I've had people that I would consider do weird, wacky shit. I was just like, man, I'm not taking a risk with it. I don't want to see where this relationship goes. He's a nice young guy. I love him because he loves cigars, but my forum is not his diary. It is not his place to just get any attention he can possibly get. And that's why that stopped. Now, when
Cigar Friend
and I were, guy writes you emails every day, Matt, or every week or whatever, and tells you he loves this thing you did and loves that video. And of course, you don't want to be mean to someone like that. And so when they're in a different country and they're like, hey, Matt, I'm in Mexico and I got 5 guys down here that, love your stuff too. And can I be like a brand ambassador? And you're like, dude, whatever you want to do, man. What can I do to support you? You know what I'm saying? But there's no official program where you're the ambassador. He got that idea from Lampert. Lampert made him an ambassador. And he was like, you should make me an ambassador too. I was like,
Cigar Friend.
You're basically an ambassador for us already. What can I do to help you? Oh, Father's Day or some holiday was coming up. He was like, can you send me like this really rare set of cigars? And I was like, of course I can. And I did. And that's it.
Okay. Gotcha.
Is that an ambassador? I don't fucking know. To me, an ambassador comes with a badge and some sort of credentials, but you know, like I don't want to make him seem like a liar either. Like we had that conversation. It's just,
Yeah, and I don't want to
yeah.
throw him under the bus either. I don't want to make this a whole like, you know,
I
like,
Cigar friend.
I love you. I love you, my brother.
yeah.
I wish you nothing but the best. I hope that you're smoking great cigars and enjoying them still. I just wish that you hadn't used our platform to basically get your attention or use it as your personal diary. That's not what it's for. And I had so many bad experiences with other members who did things like that came back to hurt us, that I just wanted to cut it off right then and there.
Yeah.
And then on top of it, we had all this stuff going on with Canada. And I was just like,
Yeah.
dude, I can't.
To add on to that, I'll say this. You're absolutely correct. Like, this is not like, it wasn't his place to say certain things or whatever, because it did turn me away and it did turn me off. When I had feedback, instead of like trying to understand where I was coming from, I was like, no, you're wrong. You don't belong here. And I was like, whoa, like this isn't the community I was looking for, you know, like, so it did hurt your brand, man, from like a Canadian perspective. Cause here I am and I'm trying to just learn. I'm trying to have the experience, and then I'm just getting shut down, and I'm not even trying to spread it in a hateful way. I'm literally just like, hey, like the shipping times are late. Oh, you're just a hater. I'm like, what? That's not what I'm getting at. I'm like, I'm just trying to figure out why, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That sucked. I never want someone to have that experience that you had. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to do this too, is that it's not a cult. It's that I know these people. I send them gifts sometimes. I know their families. They've come to my warehouse. They've come to events we've done. They met their best friend through the club, and they don't want to see that deteriorated or marginalized by like some new member. And so we were talking about group psychology. One of the first things I learned was like my first tight-knit community. They were the early adapters, and we got a wave of big success. Bunch of new members came in. And there were like 5 or 10 of them. They would come to my house. I mean, these were people I knew. And they got so turned off with the new members that they were like, fuck you, fuck this club, we're out. And it's like, wait, like even my wife, like I check, my wife is like my sanity check. She's a very stable person. Like she's the opposite of me, right?
That's like me,
And
man.
so like, I'll be like, hey, what do you think about this? Remember this person that was at our house 2 months ago? Like she was like, I saw it in the Facebook group. I can't believe it. I can't believe people would do that. I don't understand, but don't worry about it. Just keep doing, And so it's like, you get these waves of people that come in, they're rock solid for a year or two. And then they don't just leave, they leave loudly. When it's time to leave, they're like, fuck you, fuck him. And it's like, where's this coming from?
Yeah, I agree with that. Outside of Privada, so just within the cigar groups on Facebook and stuff, I've actually had experiences with that. Guys in Calgary, right? It's kind of like their own club. And I remember I was in one of the groups and I was asking them questions, and at first they were like nice to me, and then as they got to like know me more, like, nah, you're not gonna find what you're looking for here. You should probably find a different group. And I'm like, what does that mean? I want to have a good time. I want to have an experience. You know, like I'm not trying to create this thing that we're gatekeeping from people. You know, like it's supposed to be for everyone.
You just hit the word.
Yeah,
you just hit the word.
Yeah. So
can I tell you what was going on in cigar culture in America before Privada Cigar Club?
Yeah, I think there's a lot you could school me on, because like, I don't know if you watched any of my other videos. I've only started within the cigar culture within the last year, and I really picked it up quick, but there's still so much I need to learn. So if you want to share some things, I'm sure me and some other viewers can learn together.
I'll just give you a brief. It's not, I don't want it to come across like I'm trying to educate. I just want to tell you that it could be the main reason for my success is cigars became so exclusive on a what they called cigar nerd level. You couldn't walk into a shop without getting made to feel like shit, which is why I arm my members with the best. We're doing the master class now. We've always done investigative, educational videos, travel, showing you the real deal, because these cats would sit there in these shops. They knew nothing about cigars, yet because, some boutique cigar brand owner told them, broadleaf is good because of that. Like they would judge you at the counter. Like, oh, what are you buying? Like, I can't tell you how many times I got turned off in shops. And so I believe that cigar culture became such poison, because you got to understand what happened. In the 90s, we had the cigar boom, and that was what I equivalent to disco music. Everyone hates disco, right? When you bring up disco, people usually, actually times are changing now, but for the last 20, 30 years, you bring up disco and people are like, fuck that shit. And it's like, yo, you go back and listen to disco, bro. This disco is some of the best arrangements in popular music ever. Like disco had some fly fucking shit going on. And because it became so popular, became the thing. So what became popular after disco? Heavy metal, Metallica, all that shit came out, punk. And what happened with that is it's the anti-movement. And so we saw the biggest boom in cigars that cigars ever had in the late 90s into the early 2000s. And then we see this boutique movement, which is sort of the punk rock or heavy metal of cigar culture. And what happened is by 2010, 2013, only cats that lived in their mom's basements and read weird fucking review blogs online that were fed information strictly from brand owners that would do events at shops, and the brand owners didn't even know what the fuck they were talking about half the time. And you created this snobby, and it was cool because it was like, hey, cigars aren't just for rich guys. That was the 90s thing. It was like all for, you know, the lawyer, the doctor, the Porsche, and all that shit, the babes. Like it's not, so it became the opposite of that, but it went too far in that direction. And so you ended up with this pretty sick culture out there. And so what happened was there was a lot of cats like you that are about 10 years younger than you or older than you that were wanting to get into cigar culture, but they had no friendly on-ramp. They would walk into a shop and they'd be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, and I feel stupid when I leave. And they wouldn't go back. And so Privada Cigar Club came out of nowhere. We jumped on YouTube and we were like, dude, this is where you learn about cigars. Don't worry about those fucking guys in the shops. And our business fucking blew up. And I have to believe that that is a huge part of why, because we were a friendly on-ramp into cigars and cigar knowledge. And yeah, unfortunately, those days are over. My algorithm has been destroyed. I have nothing. Social media was I shouldn't have been allowed to do what I did on social media. I built a tobacco business off of social media. You really shouldn't be able to do that. If I'm thinking from a worldly point of view, I don't want, you know, probably a cigarette company to be able to do the same thing. Why should I be able to? Because cigars are different than cigarettes. I could argue both sides, but the fact of the matter is, Matt, I probably shouldn't have been able to do what I did, which was build a company that does sell tobacco, even though it's different tobacco, not the same tobacco they use in cigarettes, from seed to you process the whole thing. But I built a tobacco business off of social media, and I pretty much can no longer do that. 90% of that is from my competition flagging me so much that I know I'm just in those categories of like, I know they flip a switch at some point and they're like, you're in the pain in the ass category. You're in the, we just mentioned, so, you know, you're in that category, and you just kind of live. If your members see it, they see it. If they don't, they don't. And so that's where we are now. But during our heyday 5-6 years ago, that's what we were doing. We were introducing people who were curious about cigars to the cigar industry. And so when I was demonized the whole time, so demonized, hurtful, daggers in your heart, bro.
So like, what do you mean demonized? We're like these like
Carlito
these
Fuente,
rooted...
Half Wheel, all these companies came out. Tatuaje, all these companies came out and said that I was poison to this industry. My art would destroy the industry. It would bring on FDA exposure and heat, and this internet craze, as they called it, the internet craze, believe it or not. The internet craze, they would call shops. If your shop had the Limited Cigar Association, well, you can't have the high-end products from us anymore because you're a part of that internet movement. It was a disaster, and you can go back and read all the articles. You'll see what I'm talking about. Even the PCA came out against me, which I ended up working with them then, and you know, their big donors wouldn't allow it, and so they never gave it exposure. And it's been a fucking bizarre run, Matt. I'm very, very, very lucky and fortunate for the community we built, and because of their word of mouth, this business isn't going anywhere, and because of the amount of money that we were able to make. I mean, we made enough to do something that no other company's ever done, which is build a collection of 2-3 million cigars at a time, age them for 3 to 4 or 5 years, and then serve them to our people. So like, it's truly phenomenal. We have a blue ocean. Every other company in this industry is selling the same product. And I don't mean brands. I mean, that's the other thing about Privada. It's like, what are they? Are they a brand? No, we're not a brand. So when you tell me you don't like the cigars, I don't get that upset. I mean, partially my curator ego gets upset, right? But I don't make cigars. Those cigars came from some of the best manufacturers in the world. Maybe you just didn't like those blends or whatever. Like, we can go back and forth on that, but it's not important. You don't like it, someone else does. Someone loves it, someone hates it. You know? But the fact of the matter is, I'm not a brand, but I am a brand. I'm a retailer, but I'm more than a retailer. I'm a distributor, but I'm also direct to consumer. It's the whole thing is oxymoronical and very hard to digest. And I am whatever you you think I am. So if you walk into it with, you know, different glasses on, if you come from the wholesale side, you think I'm a wholesaler, you think I'm a threat to your business, but I'm not,
But
you know?
then,
So
but then that goes into the whole mystery man thing. Like, who are you?
I'm a guy who really fucking loves cigars, and I'm
Yeah.
open to doing most people's blogs. Don't waste my fucking time. You can't get 500 views. Please wait until you can, you know. But I'm a guy who loves cigars, and I
Yeah.
love cigar lovers, and I love going around and getting the real information from the people that actually make the products. And let me just say this, you could be the biggest super consumer, the biggest super tobacconist, where you go up down to DR or you go to Nicaragua and you go to the factories. You will not learn the real deal until you're able to buy batches of cigars in 10,000 clips at a time from all the best manufacturers in the industry, meet them, listen to them talk shit about each other, because it's a very Latin dramatic industry once you get to factory level. That guy does it like this, and that's shit because blah, blah, blah. My father from Cuba told me da, da, da. And you get all this information over the course of buying. I think I've probably bought 7, 8, 10 million cigars, maybe more than that, actually, you know? So it's information you cannot get otherwise. And I love sharing that with people, because we will create this actual baseline of real information that we can start growing from there, so that we don't have to listen to that asshole in the back of the shop that's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. No, you don't know what you know what some guy who came here trying to sell cigars told you 20 years ago. And that's changed. And so that's part of who I am and what I'm here to do.
Yeah, no, that's the thing I like about Privada. Like you said, you were like that on ramp, because like 10, 20 years ago, you know, like I was really young, and cigars to me growing up was like, whoa, you're like, you know, El Chapo, or like you're like a mafia guy, you know, like, whoa, you must be rich, you know, you got the rings on and smoking cigars. So then now, fast forward to today, I'm 30. I'm like, I stumbled across cigars just, you know, by kind of coincidence, just mistake or whatever. And then to look into it, and then to find your brand, and then to see how you basically onboard people with the products. I was like, this is really cool, because now I get to learn about, you know, with the cards, the cue cards you added in there.
Yeah.
That's why I liked it. And that's why I was like, man, I didn't get the cue cards. But then I read through a comment. You guys are doing QR codes now? Is that what's happening?
So the main club, the rare club, always comes with the 3 cards, because people have been
Oh,
collecting
okay.
them from the
Oh,
beginning.
okay.
So the rest of the clubs get you go to a link tree, and we have the actual cards that you can download and print if you want
I
to,
see.
or you can just look at them there, and we do a video for each of the
Okay.
unboxing. Yeah.
Gotcha. But yeah, that was like one of the reasons I was like, this is like a really interesting brand, because you guys are the only brand that was doing that, you know? And
Yeah.
that's very different. And as someone who's new, it's not scary, it's not intimidating, and it makes me want to like dive into it, you know?
I love that. And that's what it's for. It takes a lot of work. And I think it's really important for consumers out there to remember, most people in this industry are just here to sell you cigars. That's just the way it is. It's the way it is in every industry. And then you have your people that go a step further, and they really love what they're doing. And they typically go past the levels of the other people, because they love it. The work isn't work for them. This isn't really work for me. That's what we're calling. Okay. That's what we do here at Privada. Like, I fucking love this shit, man. I love talking to cats like you that are new. I love talking to cats that think they know what I love talking to people that really do know what they're talking about. I mean, talking cigars is my favorite thing to do, and learning about cigars and tobacco. And like, so I just love this thing, and it bothers me that you say you did not like the cigars. That really bothers me. I can tell you why I think you're wrong, but it's your palate, it's your taste,
all,
you know.
Yeah, subject. Well, you know, like out of like I tried a lot of the cigars, and there's like one that I found that I like, but in total, I just didn't prefer them. But it's not to talk down on your brand or your
I
cigars,
understand that.
because you can go buy the most expensive cigar and it could be the worst cigar to you. You can go buy the
Sure.
cheapest cigar and it could be the best cigar to you, and that doesn't even mean that the quality is good or bad. It's
What are you
all-
loving right now? What have
What am I
been cigars
loving?
that really
Oh, man,
speak to you?
So I'm back. I'm going into Cubans a lot, like Trinidad's, H. Upmans, Cohibas. Because what I did in the beginning was I started with Cubans, and I was like, okay, I don't want to destroy my palate with like these high premium sticks or whatever. So I started with Cubans, and then I was like, I'm going to go try all the new worlds. I'm going to go try all the brands as much as I can just to learn and try to understand
Yeah,
what's out there and get a
great.
better understanding with my palate. And then I'll circle back towards Cubans. So now I'm going back towards Cubans versus new worlds. And that's just what I'm preferring. Like the
I have a few
ages.
cigars on my website that I think you're gonna love.
Yeah, I would love to know which ones.
One of them is called the Oman. Okay, and this is made in Costa Rica.
Okay.
And I think you're going to love this cigar. Another one is called Cuban Link. Now, we have the original Cuban Link that's been aged like 4 years now. It's a Robusto. If you can get your hands on those, get them. Unbelievable cigar.
Okay.
The new Cuban Links, I don't love as much. Gotta be honest. They're a Toro. They're still great, and the price is right. And then I just released a cigar with my name on it for the first time. I did the Good Life that said Brian Desind on it, but this is called the Desind Caribe. That's also made with Don Olman at Tabacos de Costa Rica, and I think you're gonna absolutely love that. I will make sure that those get into your hands at some point soon. But those are the cigars on my website that I think you would gravitate towards. I understand now a little bit more about what you like in a cigar, and I could steer you into the right ones. The club is heavy Nicaragua. There's no doubt about it. There's just no doubt about it. I love Nicaraguan tobacco. I think it's the new Cuba. And I'm in. I love, there are some things coming out of Dominican Republic. Dominican's going through some growing pains, and there are a couple of companies that are emerging that are going to do it right, but it's not so easy. We have to remember Dominican Republic is a newer world country. There are class systems there. However, you can work yourself up and out of, similar to America. These are some of the happiest people in the world. Even when they're poor, they don't feel the need to necessarily be the biggest overachievers. So it's really tough in a country like this to get young people to want to be cigar rollers. Not an admirable job in today's day and age with technology and everything else. They could go do customer service if they could speak English right at a call center in air conditioning. You know what I'm saying? And maybe get a pension or some shit like that. Or they can go sit in a hot ass factory and roll cigars with their drunk uncle that, they don't like anyway. Like it's not, so it's tough. It's going through a little bit of a renaissance there. So, but Nicaragua is just doing some special things, and AJ is my guy, and I believe he's the best of all time. And so I could see where you might not like some of the cigars, that we send, but I have other things in the arsenal. And the thing about Privada Cigar Club is you don't have to be a member forever. We have members that have been with us since month 2, 3, 4, like 6 years in already, which is very telling. It's a rite of passage. It's a place you go on your cigar journey. You join the club for 6 months, a year, and you learn more and you get in tune with the content. And then over time, you go into other areas, or you read books, or you read other sites. And that's the whole thing. It's a part of the journey, and it's not the end all be all, but it's also offers you an experience that you really can't get anywhere else. And again, I believe that's because a lot of lazy people in this industry, man. It's a leisurely industry it's really hardworking all the way until the product gets delivered. And then it's hanging out at cigar shops and smoking cigars. Well, if a guy could sell 3 million cigars a year and make a fortune, and he doesn't write anything about the cigars, doesn't give you pairing notes or why would he start now? Whereas we do like 1 million cigars a year, 2 million, whatever. And for pretty much every cigar that goes out, not pretty much every cigar that goes out in the club, 36 of those, plus the 24 in the LCA. Apologies, I have a cold. We're writing these cards on, and it feels right. Creates an experience. You got 9 minutes left, my friend. Any other pressing questions? Because you answered the questions that I was going to ask you during the course of the...
Yeah, I guess I can't even see where we have the time, but we'll just go until it ends. What's next for Privada? And when you said like you guys, like it's hard for you to grow your brand right now because you guys you're not growing at the pace you were 6 years ago. What steps are you taking to overcome that? And I noticed you're a closed subscription now. Remember, like on my video, I said that. Like, what does that mean? For anyone's wondering.
So at times we have had to close the club because we don't remember we're buying years in advance. And it's very difficult. It's like you telling me how many viewers or subscribers you're going to have in 3 years from now. So there are times where we have to close the club. We don't have enough product to support the amount of people that are joining the club. Okay. What you're talking about is not a club closure because the club's not closed.
Okay, they're not closed.
Yeah. What I was talking about was we'd like you to be a member of one of the subscriptions to support this business. The money's not in the sales. It's in the subscription. So when we can count on you to consistently give that $9.99 a month, $19.99 a month, $29.99 a month, that's going to allow us to be able to purchase cigars that we can store and age, because it costs money to do that. I have a lot of haters, bro. And one of the things I noticed that they always go to is, you're buying your cigar. Some guy wrote me the other day. He was like, I know what you get your cigars for. You get your cigars for $1.15 plus 50 cents to bring it into the country. And I was just like, you know what? I was like, I'm not going to even, I don't even want to talk to this guy. But what I am going to do is I'm going to include my last invoice. So I sent him an invoice of cigars that show him clearly what I buy cigars for. And that's all I can do. But the idea that people are getting cigars for that little of money, and that whatever you sell it for is all profit, like, it's insane. So there's I got 3 warehouses now, 15, 20 employees. I got contractors I have to pay. I have to pay for all this packaging. What do you think happens when I don't use this stuff? Like, it's I got boxes and boxes and warehouses sitting with packaging, cigars. I had to buy 1,500 coolers to store 3 million cigars in. We have to buy, $20,000 worth of Boveda every quarter. Like, it's insane what goes on here and how much money actually goes into a business. So, when I hear people say this, I'm like, damn, I wish I could explain to you like how much more there is to the business other than just the cigar. But as far as you brought up a good point, and I do want to say this. Yes, we're having major problems creating more awareness. I'm at wit's end with that. And what I mean by that is, I'm an artist at heart. That is where I come from. I come from a creative mindset. Entrepreneurialism is my sport. Art is my passion. I have this merge where these two things merge, and it's very, very rare. It's unicorn status in business, and it allows me a major competitive edge. Most artists don't think they're good enough at business to really take a shot, and most business owners don't think they're creative enough to really make something that's a different product. And so with that being said, like great art, you shouldn't have to chase, not too hard. Doesn't mean you don't have to work. It means that when you put out that thing that the universe really wants right now, that the collective conscious really wants right now, you don't have to do that much to know you're on the right track. And so when I get into a situation of any kind where it's not free flowing, I will then exhaust every possible avenue. Like as a content creator, okay, short form now. All right, no more long form. Okay, let's go. Okay, short form is not working. Okay, let's try this. This platform is not working. And so you get to that where it's been the last 2 years of that, where it's like nothing. You know what I'm going to do, Matt? I'm just going to keep focusing on aging the cigars like no one else does. I'm going to keep focusing on procuring the cigars that no one else can get. And I'm just going to serve my people and give them the best customer service, the best cigars I possibly can at the most affordable prices. And we're going to all grow together. The beautiful thing about Privada Cigar Club is time is on our side. Time is not on their side. We will be the largest cigar retailer in the United States within the next 20 years. I don't know if that happens on year 5, year 10, year 15, but by year 20, most of the people I'm competing against will be in their 90s. So time is on my side. No one else has had the it factor to make their retailer or brand or thing really pop. So I'm going to wait it out. What I'm going to do differently going forward is I'm not going to be a fucking asshole. Okay. Very hard for me not to be a fucking asshole, man. Right?
Yeah, I get it, man.
I'm not gonna badger people. I'm not gonna poke at people. It did me no good.
Yeah.
It created a lot of online drama, which, yes, I could say brought some attention, but was it worth it? Attention doesn't mean dollars. And at the end of the day, like, this is the only time I'm away from my family. My kid's 6 years old. She turns 7 next month. Like, this is my one time to be a parent. It's my one time to be a great husband so that people remember me correctly, right? And so if I'm spending time away from my dedication to that, it's got to be worth it. So my time is valuable. And yes, it does become about money on some level. And so I'm just going to continue to grow my business the best way I can, which is by using the thank you culture that I built it on in the first place, which is thanking every single person that shops here, getting them the best thing I can possibly get for them, and taking my time out to do stuff like this, to build this relationship with you. Whether you liked me before or didn't like me or like Privada, you will leave this experience with a whole different, and your channel will benefit from it. And this will be a good thing. And so when people bring up Privada to you in the future, you'll probably have a little bit of a different answer than you would have a week ago. And that's all I can continue to do, and just be grateful for the little wins that we have on, continuous basis. Over time, my people will go from 30 to 40. They'll have more income at 40 to spend on cigars. Then they'll have more income at 50 to spend on cigars. And so the business, I think, will grow itself. I think we did a really good job of striking while the iron was hot. The economy's different now. Cigars are not where they were in that fever pitch boom that we were in 3 years ago. And that's fine. We have to be able to, this is where the real legends are made. They're made during bad times. Anyone can jump in during good times, but the real legends are made during the bad times. And right now, I wouldn't consider it a bad time, but it certainly isn't a great time. And I'm just going to focus back on what I do, the art for the bands, curating the best cigars, aging the best cigars in a way that no one else does because it's too expensive, and serving my people better than they can be served anywhere else. That's all I can do. I'm out of my Gary V ideas of how to.
Well, I think that's perfect because the call is literally about to drop. So
okay.
Yeah, no, this was
Well,
a great
I
conversation.
thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to do this. It was my honor and pleasure. And I hope that we don't lose touch. And I hope you don't stop doing cigar content anytime soon, because I really thought the channel was professional, and I love the video that you made.
Thank you. Let's stay in touch, please. Thank
You got
Brian.
it. I'm here. You got my email.
All right.
You got you got my personal email too. So we're here.
Awesome. Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
All
I'll
right.
see you soon. You got it, Matt.
All right.
Take
Ciao.
care.
Bye-bye.
Shout out to Canada, my people, mi gente in the north.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed that. I hope you guys got some different perspective. I know I definitely did. I kind of understand who Brian is more on a personal level. I understand more of where he's trying to take his business. In terms of, the products and services, I'll give the products, the cigars that he's recommended to try. But with the shipping stuff, I guess that's still kind of up in the air. Like he said in the video, he ships it out to Canada. He claims that Canada's, whoever's handling his cigars, they're going to be responsible for delivering it in a timely fashion. So I haven't recently ordered. If you're going to order, I don't know if it's going to come right away. It might not. You'll have to figure that out for yourselves. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. This has been really great because we got this opportunity, and I really appreciate anyone watching. So this is awesome. This happened quick. A couple months ago, we're doing videos on my little humidor. Now we're here talking to one of the bigger cigar brands and building these relationships. So thank you for watching.